Every story has a moment where love is tested, where loyalty is pushed to its breaking point. In Outlander, Blood of My Blood, Episode 7 is that moment. The ties of family, the pull of destiny, and the weight of sacrifice all collide here. What happens when blood is not just a bond, but also a curse? The world of Outlander has always been about more than time travel, more than history, and more than battles. At its heart, it is a story about people, about the blood that runs through their veins and the choices that shape their fate. As we look ahead to Episode 7 of Blood of My Blood, the tension has never been higher. This episode does not begin with ease, nor does it offer comfort. It begins with a storm brewing, a storm that no one can outrun. Episode 7 stands as a turning point, a chapter that asks one question louder than any other. What would you give? And what would you lose for the ones you love? The title itself, Blood of My Blood, reminds us that family can be both salvation and burden. In this preview, we see shadows stretching long across the land as past secrets threaten to tear open the present. Bonds that once seemed unshakable tremble. Promises once sworn are tested by fire. The world feels as if it is holding its breath. The imagery of this episode is soaked with meaning. Blood is not only life, it is memory, it is pain, it is sacrifice. Blood ties us to those we cannot escape, and in Episode 7, that truth is impossible to ignore. Whether it is the bond between parent and child, between lovers, or between clans, blood calls out to blood. Yet sometimes that call demands more than one can bear to give. The story so far has taken us across deep valleys of loss and towering peaks of hope. But here, in this chapter, the stakes reach higher still. A decision made in haste, a truth revealed too late, a heart torn between duty and desire. These threads weave together to form a tapestry of tension. And though the future remains hidden, the path is clear. Someone will pay a price. Every scene carries weight. Every glance carries meaning. Episode 7 is not simply a continuation, it is a reckoning. It is where past sins echo into the present and where the future demands its due. We, as viewers, are asked to walk with the characters into that reckoning, to feel their fear, their longing, and their struggle. As the music swells and the shadows grow deeper, one thing becomes clear: the storm is here, and in its center blood will decide who stands and who falls. Asterisk the world of Outlander. Blood of My Blood has never been gentle. It has always demanded strength, and Episode 7 proves that even strength may not be enough. To understand where the story now stands, we must look back at the journey that brought us here, a journey marked by passion, betrayal, and the ever-present question of fate. Every episode until now has been pulling at invisible strings, weaving them tighter and tighter until the tension feels unbearable. Episode 7 is where those strings threaten to snap. The choices made in silence, the promises whispered in the dark, the secrets buried under years of loyalty, they all rise to the surface. And once they do, nothing can be the same again. At the heart of this chapter lies the meaning of family. Not the simple picture of warmth, but the raw, unfiltered truth of it. Family is not only about love, it is about sacrifice. It is about the blood that ties us together, and sometimes the blood that stains our hands. Episode 7 asks us to watch as characters face the cost of carrying those ties. Can love survive when weighed down by betrayal? Can trust survive when history refuses to stay buried? These are the questions that haunt every moment. The theme of blood runs deeper now than ever before. Blood is life, but blood is also war. Families are torn apart not only by enemies outside, but by wounds within. The strongest bonds may become the sharpest chains. What happens when the very thing that unites us also threatens to destroy us? This episode dares to look directly into that truth. The landscape itself reflects the mood. Every horizon feels darker, every silence feels louder. The land is heavy with stories yet untold, but also with the weight of history pressing down on those who walk it. Every corner of this world whispers reminders that time is not a gift, but a weapon. Time heals, yes, but it also reveals. And now, time has revealed enough to shatter illusions once thought unbreakable. Conflict builds not only between people but within them. Hearts are divided, torn between loyalty to those they love and loyalty to the truth. These are not battles fought with swords alone, but with choices that cannot be undone. The power of Episode 7 lies in its ability to show that sometimes the hardest wars are the ones we fight with ourselves, but make no mistake, the external battles rage as fiercely as the internal ones. Allies grow uncertain, enemies grow bolder, and the space between friend and foe becomes dangerously thin. Shadows hide both danger and temptation, and every step forward could be a step into ruin. This is the tension that carries us toward the heart of the episode, a storm of emotion, betrayal, and reckoning. The build-up is not rushed. It is deliberate, patient, and unrelenting. It reminds us that every action has a consequence and every bond has a breaking point. The story has been preparing us for this very moment, a moment where blood is both shield and weapon, where destiny calls louder than ever, and where love is forced to stand trial. As the preview unfolds, it is clear. Episode 7 does not ask for your attention, it demands it. It dares you to look at the fragile beauty of family and the brutal cost of protecting it. And as the music grows heavier, as the shadows stretch longer, and as the faces of those we have followed flicker with doubt, we realize one truth above all: this is not simply another chapter. This is the chapter where everything changes. Episode 7 does not whisper, it does not gently guide us into its world. It arrives with the weight of thunder, the kind that shakes the ground before the storm has even broken. The air is heavy, thick, with the sense that something is about to be revealed, something that cannot be hidden any longer. From the very first frame, there is no doubt the walls between past and present, between love and duty, are closing in. We are invited into moments that feel fragile yet explosive, where the smallest glance carries the weight of an entire history. Every step forward is a step closer to a truth that threatens to unravel what has been so carefully held together. The preview does not show us everything, but what it allows us to see is enough to stir unease. We see faces caught between hope and dread, voices carrying both tenderness and warning. We see bonds tested not by words alone, but by actions that demand sacrifice. This is not the kind of test one can walk away from unchanged. In Episode 7, choices cut deeper than blades. There are glimpses of confrontation, the kind that burns hotter, because it comes from people bound by love. Words spoken in anger leave wounds that no battle can heal. And yet, in the same breath, there are moments of aching softness, reminders of why these connections matter in the first place. It is this balance, fury and tenderness, betrayal and devotion, that makes the heartbeat of Episode 7 feel so raw. The world around the characters mirrors their struggle. Storm clouds gather not just in the sky, but in every shadowed corridor, every candlelit room. The land itself seems restless, echoing the tension of those who walk upon it. Even silence carries danger here. The stillness before a revelation is almost too much to bear, like the moment before a blade is drawn taut, and then there is the sense of fate, that ancient weight pressing down on every decision. Episode 7 reminds us that destiny is not gentle. It does not ask permission, it demands obedience. What we glimpse in the preview are not just personal struggles, but echoes of something larger, something that has been building since the very beginning. The ripple of one decision can spread far, and the preview makes it clear, those ripples are turning into waves. Perhaps the most striking part of Episode 7's preview is not what it shows, but what it refuses to show. The lingering cuts, the half-spoken words, the sudden silences, they leave more questions than answers. Who can be trusted? What promises will survive? What sacrifices will be remembered? This deliberate withholding builds a kind of anticipation that borders on fear. The unknown is more powerful than what we can see. The intensity grows with every frame. A door opening into darkness. A hand reaching out, unsure if it will be grasped or rejected. A voice trembling with both love and warning. These are not simple images, they are fragments of destiny, foreshadowing the cost of what lies ahead. And though the preview refuses to tell us exactly who will rise and who will fall, it makes one thing undeniable: no one will emerge untouched. In this chapter, alliances will bend until they break. Loyalties will be tested until they bleed. And love, the very core of the story, will face its sharpest trial yet. What matters most is not whether hearts survive unbroken, but whether they can survive at all. The preview closes not with resolution, but with fire, not literal flames, but the burning of tension, of memory, of choices that cannot be undone. Episode 7 promises a story that does not simply entertain but sears itself into memory. It is not a chapter to be watched passively. It is one that demands to be felt. As the final moments fade, we are left not with answers but with a haunting certainty. Blood will speak. And when it does, its voice will be louder than love, louder than loyalty, louder than time itself. Blood binds. Blood breaks. Blood remembers. These words echo like a heartbeat as episode 7 draws near. What we have witnessed in the journey so far has been a dance between love and loss, between destiny and defiance. But now, as the shadows grow long and the storm reaches its height, the story sharpens into something unavoidable. The time for hesitation is over. The choices that will be made in episode 7 are not choices that can be undone. The preview lingers in the mind like a scar, not because it answers questions, but because it deepens them. What is the cost of loyalty? How far can love bend before it shatters? What happens when the very blood that unites also demands sacrifice? These are not questions with gentle answers. These are questions that cut to the bone, and episode 7 dares to confront them without mercy. It is clear that this chapter is not simply about survival. It is about truth. Truth hidden in silence, truth buried in the past, truth written in blood. And once truth reveals itself, it cannot be silenced again. The preview leaves us with the chilling sense that the world of Outlander, blood of my blood, will never be the same after this episode. Characters will stand at crossroads where every path leads to loss. Some will step forward with courage, others may falter. But no one will escape untouched. The beauty of episode 7 lies in its refusal to comfort. It does not soften the blows of destiny. It delivers them with unflinching honesty. And yet within that honesty there is a strange kind of grace. Because even in the face of betrayal, of heartbreak, of blood spilled both literally and metaphorically, there is love. Fragile, defiant, enduring love. It may not be enough to save everyone, but it may be enough to remind us why the struggle matters at all. This is what makes episode 7 feel so vital. It is not merely another step in the story. It is the step that changes the ground beneath our feet. The preview shows us glimpses of hearts torn open, of bonds strained to breaking, of destinies colliding. But it does not tell us who will endure. That silence is deliberate. That silence is the hook that pulls us closer. And so, as the music fades, as the shadows settle, the voice of the story speaks its final truth. Blood will decide. Blood of my blood, it is not just a title. It is a vow. It is a warning. It is a promise that what comes next will leave no one untouched. For those who have followed this journey from the beginning, episode 7 is not optional. It is essential. It is the chapter where everything you thought you knew trembles, where every promise you believed in is questioned, where every heartbeat carries the weight of history. To miss it is to miss the moment where the storm finally breaks. So, prepare yourself. Watch closely. Feel every word, every silence, every look that lingers too long. Because when the screen fades to black, it will not just be another ending. It will be the beginning of consequences that echo far beyond this single episode. Outlander. Blood of My Blood, Episode 7 on STARZ, Blood Calls to Blood. Will you answer?